Pennsylvania Republican House Leader Mike Turzai was giving a speech in front of the Republican State Committee talking about how they accomplished all their goals for the year. Now listen to point number 3 here, because remember, we've been told over and over again the voter ID laws are just to make sure that there is no voting fraud in this country. Now let's see what the real goal in Pennsylvania was according to the Republican House Leader himself. Watch.
Voter ID, which is going to allow Governor Romney to win the state of Pennsylvania. Done.
Wait a minute. I thought it was to protect us from voter fraud. You're telling me it was so that Mitt Romney can win Pennsylvania? I didn't see that coming. Look, he had gone through a whole long list about how they're pro-Second Amendment, pro-life, but we know that stuff. When he got it all worked up, and his point 3 was, add voter ID so we can win. What sick did it? Was I supposed to admit that? No, you weren't supposed to admit it. You were supposed to pretend that you really care about voter fraud. But in reality, as we've shown you many times on the Young Turks, when you actually look at the instances of voter fraud, for example, in the state of Florida, you are more likely to be attacked by a shark than to have voter fraud in the state. It is a minuscule problem. In some states, it's 0.00002% of the voters that do voter fraud. In other words, nearly non-existent. You are more likely to be hit by lightning than there is to be voter fraud. It is a non-existent problem. The reason they do voter ID laws to make sure that people without IDs can't vote, which tend to be poorer, which tend to be more minorities. For example, 25% of African Americans don't have a driver's license or any kind of identification with a photo on it. Doesn't mean they're not citizens, doesn't mean that they can't vote. They just happen to live in a big city, for example, where they don't have to drive, so they don't have ID with a picture in it. 16% of Latinos, same thing. Well, you look at that, African Americans and Latinos usually vote Democrat. That's how we hand the state of Pennsylvania over to Mitt Romney to cure a non-existent problem, when in fact their real goal is not to stop voter fraud, but to make sure as little people as possible vote so they can win the election. And I want to thank Congressman Mike Turzai here from the state legislature in Pennsylvania for admitting what their real goal is. Thank you.